Welcome storytellers, master storytellers. I'm excited to get to throw in a new punch for you to use in your writing that a lot of writers use. Last week, for the last 2 weeks, well, not on spring break, you were studying prepositional phrases that were adverbial elements. And so they took the adverb idea and put it into a group of words, kind of like a phonogram working together to make one sound. I walked to the park, in my sneakers, over the hill. Those are all talking about how I walked, where I walked, why I walked, and they were phrases. And so you were doing a really great job picking those out of sentences. Well, let me tell you what master storytellers do sometimes. All of those adverbial prepositional phrases last time were at the end of your sentence, which is a great place for them to be. But you know already that even single adverbs can move around in the sentence, like word ninjas, and they can maybe be at the beginning of the sentence, or they could be in the middle of the sentence, or they can be at the end of the sentence, and they can still be an adverb. Well, those prepositional phrases act the same way. Pretty exciting. You can put them at the beginning of the sentence for special emphasis. For instance, if you were to say, in the morning, I eat breakfast in bed. Well, that's pretty exotic of you. But you could say, I eat breakfast in bed in the morning. But isn't it more powerful sometimes to put that special placement at the beginning of the sentence for emphasis? You read it in books all the time, and now you're going to learn how to use it. So these are called introductory prepositional phrases, and there are a few rules about that. If you have your workbook open, you can read more about it after you turn me off. You can read more about it in this whole section that talks about what writers do. But I'm going to tell you a couple of very important things to start. One of the most important things is that every day you're going to need to go back and listen to those jingles that are at the beginning of this chapter. They will be the phrase, the preposition, and all those preposition words. You need to keep those fresh so that you can find them in sentences. If you were to see this sentence, which is also in your workbook, in the morning. Watch what happens here. Watch, 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 watch. Shking. I want you to go like this. Can you do that? Can you make that sound? Any kind of thing like that. That's going to be our comma sound. Or, okay? So when you put a prepositional phrase at the beginning of the sentence for emphasis, you don't have to, but 99% of the time it's going to be set off with a comma. So in the morning, Winston, our famous person that shows up in our sentences a lot, Winston paddled along. I have a squeaky door in my room. Paddled along. You can probably hear it through the video. All right? I want you to look at that for a moment, and I want you to see if you can pick out what the prepositional phrase is, what the preposition is, and what the object of the preposition is. Yeah, it's pretty obvious because I told you that they were introductory prepositional phrases, so it's at the beginning of the sentence. You're right. In the morning, Winston paddled along. We have an order of operations that we have to use for analyzing sentences, and you know what that is. Analysis is phrases, clauses, principal elements, and modifiers. You have to have the principal elements in order to have a sentence. But around that principal element, the subject and the predicate, you can have all these modifiers. You can have adjectives, adverbs, and you can have these phrases that go around. But you have to have the principal elements, and we're going to talk more about that in just a moment. This does have a phrase. Are there any prepositional phrases in this sentence? Yes. In the morning. Prepositional is a prepositional phrase. In is the preposition marked with a P. Always ask yourself, in what? The answer to that question is your preposition, is your object of the preposition. In what? In morning. Object of the preposition. Which morning? The morning. Adjective. Now we leave that. We're not done with it completely, but we've separated out our phrase. That helps us find the principal elements. because we're not going to find any principal elements within our phrase, ever. Ever, 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 ever. So now we're going to go to our principal elements. In the morning, Winston paddled along. This is a sentence and it is declarative. This sentence tells us, this sentence is about Winston, so Winston is our subject. This sentence tells us that Winston paddled. So paddled is the predicate. It is the predicate verb because it shows action. Row, row, row your boat. Paddled when or paddled where? Along. Adverb because it modifies the verb. We're not finished. Don't stop unless you have lines connecting your phrases to your principal elements. You're not done. So we go back to our phrase. In the morning. Paddled when? In the morning. Also notice, class, you must have your connector piece come down from your preposition and come over. The preposition is the leader of your phrase. So when it connects to something else, the leader connects. So make sure your lines connect from the preposition to the verb. This is an adverbial element because it modifies the verb, and it is a prepositional phrase. We have to have that because this is different than this. Notice they're both adverbs. This is a single standalone adverb. This is a whole phrase of words working as an adverb. So we have to put prepositional phrase under there. All right? And we've completed that one. So really, the fun thing is now you can find prepositional phrases at the beginning and you can find them at the end. And some sentences might have both. Shh. Okay? That'll be exciting. When you want to use one in a spelling sentence, do it. Do it and be bold and use those prepositional phrases. And if you put one at the beginning of your sentence, you must have a comma after the prepositional phrase. It tells the reader of your sentence to pause for emphasis. In the morning, Winston paddled along. Instead of, in the morning, Winston paddled along. It makes the reader stop and appreciate the emphasis of the prepositional phrase that you've put at the beginning. Please turn in your workbook now to page 98. Page 98. We're going to talk now about things called fragments. What are the two parts of a sentence you have to make it complete? What are the two principal elements? What are they? I said them earlier. Say it louder. The subject and predicate are the two parts. And so you have to have a subject and a predicate for a sentence to be a complete sentence. If it is not, there's a word that people use that are grammarians. It is this word right here. Say it out loud. Fragment. A fragment means it is not a sentence. It does not have a subject or it does not have a predicate. And so we call it a fragment. I want you to look on page 98 right here. It'll say learn it. It has this right here. I'm going to let you know that the directions are telling us to look at the words here and then write whether it is a fragment or whether it is a sentence. I want you to pause this video after we do number one. We're going to do number one together. Let's read it out loud. On the old yellow bicycle. On the old yellow bicycle. Sentence or fragment? Fragment. So you would take your pencil right now and you will write the word fragment by number one. And I want you to pause and I want you to do number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 right now. Do it. Pause it. Pause it. Okay, now you're back. Good to see you. Looking at number 2, near the tall tower, the birds nested. Near the tall tower, the birds nested. Sentence or fragment? Number 2 should be sentence because the subject of the sentence is birds and the predicate is nested. So you have a subject and a predicate, a subject and a verb. So we have a sentence. Number 3, Later, after the girls' bike ride. Later, after the girls' bike ride. It's a fragment. You don't have a subject and you don't have any action taking place. You have when it all happens, later, and you have that it's after the bike ride, but you don't have what happens. So it's a fragment. Number 4. Outside, she cried. Outside, she cried. How sad. Is it a sentence or a fragment? It's a sentence. What's your subject? She, and what's your verb? Cried. You have a subject and a predicate, therefore you have a sentence. Looking at number 5. Throughout the 10 miles of trails. Throughout the 10 miles of trails, something has to happen. And it didn't. And so it's you should have written fragment. Yes, because you don't have a verb. Nothing happened. Look at number 6. Suddenly, Lucy hiccuped. Sentence or fragment? Yes, you should have sentence because Lucy is our subject and hiccuped is the verb. And I hope that you gave her a glass of water. All right, let's look at the next sentence there. We're going to do these two together so that you can practice. I'm going to find my eraser. At the soccer game, I'm going to give me a moment to just write this up here. At the soccer game, notice there's a comma here. At the soccer game, Winston again ordered a hamburger. Ooh, yum. I want you, while I'm finishing this up, to try to find the prepositional phrase and mark it with parentheses. Go. Do you think you're right? Let's find out. At the soccer game, Winston ordered a hamburger. Order of analysis is phrases, clauses, principal elements, and modifiers. Are there any prepositional phrases in this sentence? Yes. At the soccer game, is that what you marked? At the soccer game is a prepositional phrase. At, preposition. At what? Game. Object of the preposition. Say this with me out loud. Which game? Soccer game. Adjective. Please be writing this on your page and saying it out loud with me at the same time. Which game? The. Adjective, because it modifies the noun. These are both telling about this noun. Object of the preposition is always a noun. Do we have any more prepositional phrases in our sentence? No. So now we are ready for our principal elements. Read the sentence again. At the soccer game, Winston ordered a hamburger. This is a sentence and it is declarative. This sentence is about Winston, underline. So Winston is the subject. This sentence tells us that Winston ordered. So ordered is the predicate. It is the predicate verb because it shows action. Ordered what? Hamburger. So hamburger is the direct object because it receives the action of the verb. Which hamburger? A hamburger. Adjective because it modifies the noun. Are we finished? No, we haven't dealt with our prepositional phrase. Ordered when? At the soccer game, he ordered it. So at the soccer game is an adverbial element because it modifies the verb and it is a prepositional phrase. So we have to put that at the bottom. Now are we done? Yes, we are. Hooray, hooray, we're done, we're done, we're done. Oh, but there's another sentence. Please read the sentence out loud while I erase and write it on here. Begin. By the afternoon, he asked for another sandwich. Do you find any prepositional phrases that you see on there? And mark them, please. Comma. He asked for another sandwich. All right, what do you think? Are you ready? I'm going to turn to my page that I need to do this appropriately. Okay, let's start. By the afternoon, he asked for another sandwich. Are there any, well, order of analysis is phrases, clauses, principal elements, and modifiers. Are there any prepositional phrases in this sentence? Yes. By the afternoon is a prepositional phrase. Any others? Yes. For, if you've memorized your prepositional phrases, preposition list, for is a preposition. For what? For another sandwich is a prepositional phrase. By. Preposition. Say it with me. By what? Afternoon. Object of the preposition. Which afternoon? The afternoon. Adjective, because it modifies the noun. For. Preposition. For what? Sandwich. Object of the preposition. Which sandwich? Another sandwich. Adjective, because it modifies the noun. Are there any other prepositional phrases in this sentence? No. So now we're looking for the principal elements and modifiers. So read again. By the afternoon, he asked for another sandwich. This is a sentence and it is declarative. This sentence is about he, so he is the subject. This sentence tells us that he asked. So asked is the predicate. It is the predicate verb because it shows action. Those are all of our principal elements. Now we need our modifiers. We don't have any direct objects. Asked what? Nope. Don't have any words left. Now we're just dealing with these little guys. Okay, go back to the beginning. Asked when, attach it to your preposition. By the afternoon is an adverbial element because it modifies the verb and it is a prepositional phrase. Asked why? For another sandwich. So I'm going to go this way. You can go backwards on your page because yours is correctly on your page. Adverbial element because it modifies the verb and it is a preposition. We have everything labeled. We are now completely finished. Make sure that your lines look like my lines on your page before you take a picture. I want to see that you followed along. And I want you to start having fun using these at the beginning of your sentence. And when you do, I want you to put a or a after your prepositional phrase. Congratulations. Good job. We're going to do more of these all week. Remember to go back and review your preposition lists. Have a great day. Bye.